Back on Energy Matters, our next guest is from the University of North Dakota's Energy and Environmental Research Center. Charlie Gorecki is the director there. Charlie, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great, Scott. Thanks for asking.
I was proud to see Dan Brouillette, the Secretary of Energy, have such robust conversations with folks from EERC and other energy leaders in North Dakota, and a pair of roundtable events that happened at Minot not long ago. Haven't had a chance to specifically talk about your takeaways, but I know that he was obviously quite familiar with the Energy and Environmental Research Center. What were you most hopeful about in the way of a productive conversation with the Energy Secretary?
Well, to me, first of all, to have the support of our elected delegation, having both of our senators, Senator Hoeven and Senator Kramer there, as well as having the governor and lieutenant governor there, what I said to the secretary is we have an incredible place in North Dakota where we really have a team. We can get together in one room with the elected delegation and industry and the research side from EERC, and we can get together and try to solve these challenges, try to knock down the things that are in our way from really seeing a successful energy future for not just North Dakota but the United States.
Good point. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And we're lucky. And people will tell you that you don't see things like that in other states. It's just pretty amazing to have the level of attention and the conversation and the collaboration and everything else coming together. What did you most want him to know about EERC?
Well, he's got a great familiarity with us. EERC, as you're aware, was at one point part of the Department of Energy, sibling organization to what is now the National Energy Technology Laboratories, and it was defederalized in the 80s. So he had a good understanding of how we work together with NETL in particular. One of the things I wanted him to take away was it's not just the fossil fuel portfolio, it's also the renewable energy efficiency, grid reliability, that we're also really well suited to take on those challenges that the Department of Energy is looking at as well. And integrating them all together, all of the above. Yeah,
and what are they doing differently in your mind? I mean, what do you see the Secretary of Energy leading there? I mean, obviously, you could just sense that there was a little bit of excitement on his part, too, of just all the different things and the way, the possibilities that are there from the folks around the table. But what do you see as, gosh, finally, we're tackling this. This is great. This is wonderful. They're taking this on. What kind of things there really stand out for you in EERC?
Well, I know you were just on the phone with Dan from Minnesota. Really, his support of projects like that are really going to move the needle, where we're going to actually bolt on the side of a coal-fired power plant capture equipment to be able to reduce the carbon emissions from that coal-fired power plant to zero or near zero. A huge step. He's a great proponent of it. He's a really incredibly intelligent man, a very technically savvy guy. So he really understands the nuts and bolts of that, of how you get those types of things done.
So for everything that was on the table and discussed in these roundtables with the Energy Secretary, you obviously have a lot of balls in the air, a lot of spinning plates at EERC, a lot of different things happening in many different areas, different energy resources and everything else. To the extent that something's on his radar, what would you say is the closest to being ready for prime time, for lack of a better term? That a lot of the research has been done on it, and it's ready to head to the private sector.
Yeah, we've got a lot of those types of things. I mean, a prime example, and it still needs the work. The front-end engineering design, as Dan talked about it for Minnesota, that carbon capture is close. We're looking at carbon capture at our ethanol facilities in North Dakota as well, very close. We've been switching gears over to the oil side. We have completed actually two pilots now in the Bakken for enhanced oil recovery. And that is getting close. I think we need to do a larger scale pilot with one of our commercial operators here, and we've got things in the works to get to that. Because if we can crack the nut that is enhanced oil recovery in the Bakken, we won't have enough carbon dioxide, we won't have enough produced gas in order to be able to do that. So you could imagine capturing our carbon dioxide off of our coal-fired power fleet, not just one plant, but all of them, and capturing our gas that we're potentially flaring or has very little value, or having challenges with BTU limits, for example, and using that to produce more oil out of the Bakken with a lower carbon intensity, oil that you wouldn't otherwise get, and you've already drilled out the wells. So, a number of those types of technologies. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about it. It's a ways further back, I guess. You were asking what's closest. I'm going back the other way, but we've also been having some incredible discoveries with respect to rare earth elements in the state of North Dakota, in our shales and our clays and our coals. And that has some incredible potential from a national security perspective. Things that we need to create the batteries and cell phones and electronics and really things for defense is rare earth elements. So we've been doing some great work there as well.
Some folks might not realize how essential rare earth elements are in about everything that we run our life, from chips to phones to, all kinds of electronic things. And not a lot of them have been, mined here. We're kind of beholden to folks overseas for them. So in a case like that, is it a matter of detecting where they are? And actually, once you get them out, whether or not they hold up to rare earth elements from other places and matching them with a similar product somewhere else.
Yeah, really, where we're at now is we've identified locations that have high enough concentrations of rare earth elements that it could be potentially commercially viable. Now we're also have undertaken some efforts to try to map where those are. So we know specific point locations, but how extensive are those? For example, if it's in our coal, it would be great if it was in one of the coals that we're currently mining, so that we don't have to set up a new mine, for example, but we're able to extract those out of those mined coals. And then the next step is, how do you get those out of the coal? Do you get it out before you combust the coal, or maybe you get it out of the coal in the ash side? So it's the extraction piece. Once we extract it, then we need to move on to the concentrating piece. We do have some of the more valuable rare earth elements represented in our coals, and we have identified those. So,
very interesting. Very exciting stuff. Glad you're doing what you're doing. I appreciate the readout on the event with the Secretary of Energy, and also about how that research can benefit North Dakota. It's good stuff. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.